Friendly Neighborhood Comics with Kiernan, the author of Alabaster Wolves. She's won awards in the International Horror Guild Award for Best First Novel in 1998 for Silk, the Barnes & Noble Maiden Voyage Award for Best First Novel in 1998 for Silk as well, International Horror Guild for Best Novel 2001 for Threshold, and many, many more. First of all, congratulations on all these accolades. And do you have something you're most proud of?
The last couple of novels, which have been, am I talking?
Yeah, you should be fine.
The last couple of novels I'm very, very proud of. World Fantasy and Shirley Jackson Award nominations. I don't know. I don't think about that much. I do the work, and if people, if I get I'm not that into awards, but if it happens, it's really cool. I'm not like anti-award, but I don't think about it much.
But it must be nice to know that your work is being recognized too, because
it is.
I mean, you put all this work into it, and then, not only people reading it, but it's also
just like this little bonus.
Yeah, it's a little cherry on top, right? So your latest release, Alabaster Wolves, came out on the shelves Wednesday, and it's a 5-part mini arc.
Yes.
And so tell us a little about the main character and maybe some background about her.
I've answered this question probably like 30 times on interviews in the last 2 months. It's hard to answer that question. She's an albino girl who is walking across the southeastern U.S., encountering bad monsters and demons. And, at least she sees this Sarah, this angel, who's driving her forward and saying, well, this is where you go next, and this is where you go next. And in the original incarnation, she was a very young girl. In the comic, I rebooted and made her older. She's almost 17. And whether or not there's really an angel, I've always tried to leave up to the readers. What's real, what's not real. The monsters are obviously real.
Yeah.
At least they seem to be. But, I've always sort of left open whether or not she's sane. That was something that was always very important to me. Is Dancy Flammarion actually a sane girl? Which is brought into doubt, brought into question a lot in the comic.
Yeah. Did she challenge with that? People telling her that she's insane and she's wondering herself. And she's like, no, and she's justifying the fact what she's doing.
And it's something that other characters bring up. I think there's a lot of a bird right at the beginning of this issue. And there is chicken talking bird. Calls her wackadoodle. So, there's a lot of aspersion cast on her sanity.
So not only have this is your second crack at comics, you have all these novels that you've written before. What's the challenges of going from like a novel to writing a script form in comics?
It's mostly, the hardest thing is really about economy of language. Instead of having 100 or 150,000 words to tell a story, you have in this issue there's probably, I haven't counted them, but there's probably 500 words. And so you have to choose them really carefully. You have to not overwhelm the art. You have to let go and trust the artist to tell the story as much as you're telling the story. And in some ways more. The artist is like the cameraman who has to take your descriptions and your dialogue and turn it in. And the dialogue's a lot more important. Like you really have to tweak the dialogue to get it just exactly right. So it's about conveying as much as you can verbally with as few words as just the right number of words. And for someone who's mostly a novelist and short story writer, that can drive you crazy sometimes. It's like, oh God, I want to spend 50 words describing this old rusty gas station, but I can't. I have to let the artist, let Steve get that.
This is their job right now. Yeah.
And trusting them and letting them do their job can be very hard, because I'm kind of a control freak and I want to, let's say, it should be exactly like this, but Steve Lieber has done just a marvelous job. Rochelle Rosenberg and the cover artist God, I love our cover artist, Greg
Yeah,
Ruth.
it's fantastic.
Have just done a wonderful job of getting it. It shocks me sometimes. I get the artwork and I'm like, that's exactly what I meant. How did you get that?
It's like they took the picture out of your head and put it on the
really
paper.
is. It's like there have been times when it's like, how did you get in my head and see that? So,
Well, that's fantastic. So it's a 5-issue mini arc. It's by Dark Horse Comics, and it's going to be hitting the shelves once a month. Is it? Yeah. Once a month. And do you have any other plans for her in the future after this?
Right now, what we have is there's actually over 2 issues on Free Comic Day. There's a 2-part story that's in 2 of the Dark Horse Free Comic Day comics. That's a separate story. I'm probably definitely doing a 3-parter for Dark Horse Presents that will be set after this. And there, right now we're talking about maybe another mini-series, maybe an ongoing series. It's just all up in the air right now. So, a lot of it has to do with my schedule for writing novels, how much time I want to devote to comics, how successful this comic is. I'm like, go out and buy it. So I do have that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of variables involved in
And there are other artists, and there are lots of other people involved, and if I do move ahead with it, I want to move ahead with it with this creative team, because we've been working on it now since maybe October, September. So, I want to keep the same creative team, but everybody, if we do a mini-series, then everybody has to go off and get work and do other things. So pulling everyone back together, it was really hard to pull this team together. It always is. So, it's just, we'll see what happens.
There you have it. Alabaster Wolves by Kiernan. Pick it up at your local comic shop. Dark Horse Comics.